Yeah, this happens because of all the issues that we're seeing in AWS and so on going around the world. So hi everyone, welcome to the OpenDev Battleship call in October 2025. Here we have the core developers of Polkadot. These are the Avengers of Web3. They are fighting Thanos, the forces of centralization that keep our web going down, and we're building a Polkadot cloud, making sure that these things don't happen in the future. And so, yeah, there is this call going on every month. We're showing our merch. This time I have something from the Polkadot Blockchain Academy. And I picked this up in the local billiard cafe. This is Nerds Don't Cry, especially in times like ours. It's time that we show our force. So yeah, we will go for everything that's going on in Polkadot right now. And as always, we go through the ranks. And we start with the highest available rank that we have right now on the call, which is rank 4. And Kian. Hi, Kian.
Hi.
Hey.
So yeah, it's 5 now, but yeah, that's okay.
Rank 5. Oh, my mistake. Sorry.
Yeah,
rank
no worries. No worries. So yeah, I'll start with like the most recent things that's in my mind. Thanks to a few reports from Kusama validators, which was very valuable. We found a small issue in the staking system that went into production in Kusama since the migration on Kusama. The effect of it is that not all, but some validators would not have their self-stake taken into account for their reward calculation further down the road. So I hope we found this last weekend, and the fix is already sort of in the pipeline to be released. So I hope that by later this week or early next week, it would be in production and the issue would be resolved. Once it's done, I will also go back in time and sort of calculate, okay, this many validators potentially lost this much staking reward because of this bug, and propose a tip to the Kusama treasury to refund those who sort of got affected by it. And yeah, I think this was a good outcome in that this on Polkadot would have had a lot more impact. But at the same time, in testnets with no value, nobody realized it because nobody cares about, Western tokens or Paseo tokens. But even though it's less valuable, people do care about their KSM rewards. And I think it was a good example of having a incentivized secondary network or canary network like Kusama helping us here. So yeah, that's the most recent thing that I've been working on. Other than that, I'm still busy like wrapping up the staking testing for AHM, which so far looks good. I think overall, most of the fellows and colleagues at Parity to whom I talked to are quite happy about how the migration went on Kusama. Is this the first call after the migration? Okay, yeah, I think then we should like have a word of appreciation and sort of gratitude as well that things generally went pretty well on Kusama, I would say. I think some of us were kind of on the edge that how is this going to go? It was the first of its kind in many ways. And yeah, as I was saying, the testing for staking is also looking good, and I hope that there will be no bumps on November 4th when we go to Polkadot. As soon as this testing stuff is done, I will also resume pushing forward the two sort of community-driven efforts that we have. One is the capped inflation, and second one is the unbonding queue. As far as I know, both of them are sort of code complete. They just need like final review and audit and so on and so forth. And yeah, I expect to get started with them very soon in the latest, I would say by after Polkadot AHM, but probably earlier. Yeah, I think we also have like Dom here. One quick comment about the capped inflation that was raised by Jonas, and I think it's a fair one. Is that I think the way that we're currently trying to implement it, because it snapshots total issuance once and kind of makes all the calculation based on this. It doesn't take into account burns. So yeah, as I will be reviewing it, I'll bring this up and see if we can find a solution for it, such that we're always exactly targeting the cap that we wanted to, or else it's quite likely that we will never reach it because as we are going toward it, we also burn tokens and so on. But we never re-inspect the total issuance to see how far we are from it and how much we should inflate or issue right now. Yes, Jay? Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, that's fair. Then we should just quote that and go for it, at least for the time being. I also do agree that inflation change is best effective when it's like once and not touched anymore. Although I think we can further down the road change like some implementation detail of it, as long as the cap and everything else is respected. I think that would likely happen. So but yeah. Yeah, one last comment about it. I'm also aware of the timelines. I've been talking to Jay about this a little bit. I think rest assured, like it would be reaching the timeline of March is 100% doable, and I think for sort of PR reasons or like for community reasons, it's good to even put it into the code earlier, and I think we can achieve both of them quite easily.
And I was just going to say, yeah, the assessment was correct. It does not account for burns, and my assessment was the same as Jay's, where that was a good thing. But obviously, all this is up for discussion.
Yeah. Okay, that's it from me. If there's any more questions, I'm happy to.
There was this recent vote on Kusama to have capped supply, and I believe it went negative. So will it make a big of a difference, or is it basically two different strategies?
I mean, even right now, they have diverged for some time, right? Polkadot changed once, maybe about a year ago, and Kusama has been the same since Genesis, basically. So the only thing we changed in Kusama recently was that, there was this parameter like use auctions and so on, which was not even being used, but it was still in the code, and we removed that. So, But yeah, Kusama is very sort of 10% max with an ideal stake. I don't remember what's the number, maybe 50%. And the closer we get to that, the closer to max issuance we get.
All right. And coming back to the setup migration, it seemed to me that most of everything went really well. So I guess you're looking positively towards the Polkadot migration.
Yeah, I would say so. I think things went overall pretty good. We also we were watching your stream, Tommy, as we were doing the migration, and we will also fix not fix, but make it clearer that the things that the dashboard shows as error are sort of expected failures. Now, some accounts cannot be migrated. Some pre-images don't exist on they are like garbage on the other side, so we don't send them. Things of this sort. I don't know the details of all of them, but there are. We will also make sure that they are not present, so the audience don't get confused or worried that my multisig is not moved or something.
It was a little bit of a training run for me to figure out what's going on, read the code a bit and see. And it's really interesting to look into the code and see how this migration actually looks under the hood. Good. Does anyone have a question for Kian? I don't see that. Okay, then thank you, Kian. And we are moving on. Next up is Oliver, rank 3 in the fellowship, with a monthly salary of $6,666. Welcome, Oliver.
Yeah, thanks. Hi. Yeah, so for me, it's like pretty similar topics, like working in the same team as Kian. So yeah, Kusama setup migration went well. Then for Polkadot, we want to finish the runtimes this week. I mean, we kind of have to because OpenDev limits the votes, and we want to have it start on 4th November. Or I guess on the Monday we would have the runtimes enact, and then on the Tuesday we would do the migration, like similar to Kusama. But I'm not 100% sure right now. Yeah, but our estimates there is that it would take like at least 4.5 hours. So for Kusama we estimated like 90 minutes, and I think it was more or less correct. But yeah, for Polkadot it would be like about 5 times as long. So I guess like Jay will make a stream hopefully, but it could be a bit boring in between. Like it stretches a bit out. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, we have this like migration monitor that everyone can check. I mean, Kian mentioned it, but it's good to publish it. Yeah, otherwise I'm also involved in a capped issuance, but I think Kian talked about this already, so no further updates for me. Yeah, I mean, I'm just like currently looking what further topics, like what I want to work on next, but I haven't settled on anything concretely yet.
It's after you did the big thing, there's always this rest phase where you take some time to reorient.
Yeah.
So you're saying Kusama took about 90 minutes, and then for Polkadot it will be 5 times as long, so that should be 7.5 hours.
4.5.
4.5. 4.5. Okay, so it's 4.5, and then 1 hour before and 1 hour after, where everything is just frozen.
Yeah, so I guess my 4.5 hours estimate wasn't really okay. So 4.5 was what I actually measured, so it was actually better than what we calculated. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be more like 7.5. Yeah. Yeah, but this is just like the time to move the data. Like we still have like a 1 hour warm-up period where all the transactions are locked. So you will not be. And then we have a 1 hour cool-off period afterwards. Yeah, so there, like for Kusama, the whole thing, like I was in a Google Meet call like for 7 hours. I guess for Polkadot it will be like longer. So yeah, because we like monitor this thing continuously and possibly have to intervene. But I think it went pretty smooth, so I don't think we will have to do anything.
Okay, so 4.5 hours to 7.5 hours, somewhere between there. You muted.
Sorry. Yeah, we will run it a few more times to get like a better estimate, but somewhere in that range.
Yeah. And will it start in the European afternoon?
So we will start at about 8 a.m. UTC. So I think that's like 10 a.m. Berlin time or something, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, it would definitely be like morning UTC time. Yeah.
I think we will have a time, so like a change to winter time, so it might be 9 a.m. morning.
Yeah, true.
All right, got
Yeah.
it. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for Polkadot, we also for Kusama, we also tried to do it in the morning, but I like calculated the correction in the wrong way. So instead of more in the morning, it was more in the later. So yeah, this time we will do it correct.
It's I had the same when we were at the retreat and I had all my whatever. All right, okay. Does anyone have a question for Oliver? I see a hand from Jay.
I didn't know it was actually merged. I mean, I can check it, but it's about multi-asset bounties or. Okay. No, I think that would be then in 2509, I hope. I mean, I can check it. I can give you a message in a few minutes. But off the top of my head, I don't know. Otherwise, it's also, I mean, I guess we would update to a new SDK version after the migration is finished. But then it can still be like at least a month to finish that and vote it through. And in December, not so much happens. It's, yeah. I can check it, yeah.
Okay, anything else for Oliver? Nope, that is not the case. Okay, thank you, Oliver. Good. Next up is Andre, rank 3 in the fellowship with a salary of $6,666. Hi, Andre.
Hello.
Hey.
Like two things I'm still working on. One is elastic scaling, for which I continue to tackle the last remaining tickets. It's mostly boring stuff. So I added a runtime upgrade test. Before we used to do it manually, and now it's in CI. It upgrades the chain to 3 cores, like from an async backing enabled chain. But it should work the same for a sync backing chain. On the parachain side, there was a feature gate for RFC 103. I finally removed that after we enabled it on the Polkadot relay chain, and this will actually simplify enabling elastic scaling on chains, but it will be starting with the December stable. And last thing for elastic scaling, like while testing, I found another issue which was causing a large amount of parachain forks, but when you run with 12 cores. But that fix was also backported to the 2509 stable. So it should be fine if anyone wants to try that. Now, on reliability and block confidence, we have this canary parachain deployed on Kusama, and we're using it to collect data, test block confidence improvements, and monitoring. And for now, to keep it simple, we're running the chain with just a single collator. We'll kind of switch to more, and yeah, probably going to see some other issues, but it's for a later time. What's nice is that this collator is basically using the latest tech, which means the slot-based collator, and it builds its blocks on the parent of the best block of the relay chain. This is to avoid forks, which are bad for block confidence, especially if you're running with multiple cores. I've been working with a new joiner to analyze like this large amount of data and to understand where this confidence drops. And basically what we are looking for is parachain forks. That's the symptom of low block confidence. But looking at the current data, we are not that bad. So for a single parachain, I am happy to share that we see 99% block confidence over a period of 12 hours. That means 99% of the blocks produced are finalized. The others are basically dropped and rebuilt. Our target is 100%, which in theory, it's possible, but it will not be easy in practice. Like, this is a decentralized system; things can go wrong. I've created a couple of tickets to be worked on to improve this next year. But one thing actually became quite clear is that we need to increase the lifespan of the relay parents that parachains build their blocks upon, which probably might happen this year, but after we do the migration on Polkadot. Yes, and also I've done some actual work that already improves things a bit. Actually, I've continued some old PR from Alex Georgie. He's also a member of the fellowship, but not on this call. I fixed some issues there and got it merged recently. Like, this PR will improve the backing group connectivity for collators. But it has like a mandatory follow-up that I'm working right now. I'm pretty close to finishing it. This will make the collators actually connect one slot before their time comes to author a block. Previously, collators would connect to the backing group when they had a collation. So that kind of added a latency, sometimes quite big, like 5-6 seconds or even more, if we had like worse connectivity. And yeah, we've kind of deployed this on this canary parachain, and we saw improvements in the metrics. Like, collations are provided much faster. It's like 16 milliseconds. It's like on Kusama on average. So it looked really good, and it actually improved block confidence quite a bit, like mainly for the 3-core scenario. But yeah, we're gonna keep working on this, and yeah, perhaps next year we'll be much closer to 100% block confidence, which means that like you also can have very high confidence in the transactions. Once you see it in block, you'd know that it will be finalized. It's super useful for spending some funds for like not many funds, like for cheap things, right? But if you want to buy a Lambo, for example, you still want to wait for finality. But most of the use cases wouldn't be buying Lambos, so it kind of improve the user experience a lot in apps that actually have their like user experience centered around like in block. And when you have something in block, you can also show the side effects, and if that block is retracted, like it's dropped, something else happens, so it kind of creates inconsistency in the user experience. So yeah, we want to avoid that. Yeah, and that's all of it. Yes, Kian has a question.
Yeah, so is there other metrics other than this block confidence that's overall in this reliability effort that you're mentioning we're monitoring, or is it mainly about like in block leads to finalization?
Yeah, there are other metrics, but those are mostly the transaction, like it's mostly transaction status, like how soon it's ready, how soon it's in block, and like how soon it's finalized. There could be other statuses like retracted, or the transaction becomes invalid. Like from our from let's say like higher level perspective, like from parachain consensus perspective, like we don't know what's in the block. So kind of care that every block that gets built by a collator is actually also finalized. This means that all the transactions that were kind of reported as in block would also be finalized. Yeah, so this kind of is affected as well, like the in block. Like, for example, if you skip block production for whatever reason, like the collator is not online, that also affects in block, gets higher.
Yeah, I mean, I was having a conversation about this, and one point that came up is that some of these things kind of depend on the transaction as well. Like, what is the nature of the transaction? I mean, what is the mortality of it, and whether it would legit be valid on the next block or not? Sometimes there could be a transaction that is like valid now and not in 10 seconds, and it's kind of like because of the transaction and not the system. So yes, now you're looking at mostly transaction agnostic data, or at least for this like block confidence, I think is kind of transaction agnostic.
Yes. It's like mostly concerns the like block production on the parachain and like how the parachain block, the path of the parachain block to the relay chain gets fetched by the backing group. It gets backed, gets included, potentially gets disputed and reverted with the entire block. But that's like a very rare event. I don't remember seeing some revert. Just like disputes against valid blocks.
Very cool to see the data-driven approach by which you're starting to squeeze out performance. It's not like in the old days where you just could decide like we're doing 12 seconds or 6 seconds. Now you have to fight for milliseconds.
Yeah, we're getting there, especially like with 500 millisecond blocks, and potentially with like even like smaller blocks, like 250 millisecond blocks are possible. But I wouldn't use like even for 500 millisecond blocks, I wouldn't use 12 cores, right? There's another solution coming up from Basti, which can allow you to make these very short blocks, but there will be some trade-offs and overheads from having these very short block times. More headers, right? Like latency quite it affects you more if you have like more runtime trips, like even for the collators to kind of fetch all of those announced blocks.
Yeah, I had a short discussion with Rob K, where he also mentioned some stuff he's working on. Good.
Yeah.
Okay. So looking forward to buy my Lambo on chain. I hope it's possible by the time. And until then, I don't see any more questions for Andre, right? Good. Thank you, Andre. Good. We're moving on. Next up is Adrian, ranked 3 in the fellowship with a salary of $6,666.
Hey everyone.
Hey Adrian.
For the past month, I haven't done that much work directly related or like to the fellowship. I think the significant bits are supporting the asset hub migration efforts, the one on Kusama and in general, the Polkadot, all the work that's still ongoing for Polkadot. And one other thing I've been working on and doing a bit of individual contributions is some changes to asset hubs, asset management, so that we can allow registration of foreign assets which are not teleportable. Well, basically, we had this vision of asset hub being the central spoke, and people would register there. So you could register something called trust-based, trust-backed assets on Asset Hub, meaning this is just a normal asset. Someone issues it, registers it, like creates it basically, and they have full admin rights on it. And for some assets, the admin can drop these admin rights and like leave it completely locked in a way, as in, you know, nobody can mint or burn or change issues, or like it's like an asset that has a life of its own. But this is an asset that has to be created on Asset Hub. So it's kind of a local asset. Obviously, it can be transferred to other places, but its origin is Asset Hub. And we have another type of assets on Asset Hub called foreign assets. And these are meant, the purpose of this separation is to be able to register for foreign entities, basically. When I say foreign, I mean other chains, right? To register remote assets on Asset Hub. So basically, parachains or even, you know, bridge networks can register their asset on Asset Hub and have it as this sort of local asset. There is a rule there, implicit rule, that once you create this foreign asset, the owner location, so the parachain, can teleport between itself and Asset Hub. And this was meant to be a sort of an accelerator or like a quality of life improvement. But in practice, we see that, and we've been getting feedback that it's actually a drag, right? It's not improving, but making things harder, because the asset owner, when you teleport, you're basically saying that there are multiple reserve locations for an asset, right? And that allows teleporting, that allows to basically burn on one side and mint on the other. Whereas what most of the industry does out there, which is reserve-based transfers, those work by just reserving some part of the asset locally, right, and minting a derivative of some sort remotely. Right? And this is easier because everything stays local. You always have a view of where everything is and who owns what. But it doesn't make it more difficult when you have like multi-hop transfers or like more complicated. So when you have a bigger ecosystem like Polkadot, not just two chains talking over a bridge or whatever, you always need to go through the reserve for reserve-based assets. So sometimes teleports are better, sometimes reserve-based assets are better. So it's a whole discussion here. Which one is better? There's not one right answer, but for sure, there are teams and there are situations where people want to register an asset on Asset Hub, an existing one, so it's a foreign asset, but they do not want to make it teleportable. And the reason for this is that they do not want to manage a separate reserve on Asset Hub. So it's just team bandwidth or like just efforts. So sometimes someone might choose to take the cost of having to route all transfers to their chain, but then have the benefit of just managing a single reserve on their chain, and that's it. And that is the case for Hauler and on Hydration. Hydration wants to register Hauler on Asset Hub. I think all the ecosystem wants to register Hauler or have Hauler available on Asset Hub. But Hydration do not want to manage a separate reserve. So the current machinery on Asset Hub basically is no good for them. So I've been working on an enhancement to make this configurable basically on asset registration, make the default be non-teleportable because that's a more natural default. There's also migration for the existing assets to basically change the storage so that they are teleportable because they were before. We want to keep the same behavior. But for any asset, the asset owner or asset admin can come in and change this behavior once this functionality lands. Right now, it's under review in the SDK, and afterwards we need to go through the motions of getting it on the fellowships and then runtime release. I am hoping though we can time it so that it lands with the official hub launch with the smart contracts support on Asset Hub, so that also time it with Hydration registering their Hauler and getting some Hauler there. So basically, when Hub launches, it also launches with a truly native decentralized stablecoin.
Yeah, it's a tough challenge because if you look at Ethereum, they don't have an established standard. So there is no leading model which we could follow where we can take inspiration from. This is basically I don't know, maybe in Avalanche or Cosmos it's different, but I think in a certain way, like you and the team are the first to explore this, how you actually do those things.
Yes. I think, but this is also an uphill battle because everyone is coming from this single chain mindset. When I say everyone, I say most of the industry coming from this single chain mindset, looking at Ethereum or Solana or some other big chains out there, or contract chain, but they are ultimately single chain. So a large percentage of class of problems just don't apply there. Right?
Yeah. All right. Does anyone have a question for Adrian? No. I hope you all took notes. Good.
Yeah, I just need reviews.
And passed it to sign the PR. All right. Okay, we're moving on. Next up is Sebastian, rank 3 in the fellowship, and having a salary of, that was the old salary, I believe. Having a salary Maybe $6,666. Let's see. I think the last claim was 1,666. So does that indicate you got promoted, or do I have
Yes, I got promoted to rank 3. I
Congrats.
think in August or something. Yeah, what is going on? I would say like a lot of smaller topics. I will also present a bit what the team is up to. I think it's like a good place to start is that the storage reclaim is coming to Kusama Asset Hub. Yeah, this has been in the works for quite some time. Like we have this feature that allows us to reclaim storage after a transaction. Like we have this benchmarking that is calculating the weights of individual transactions, and it always needs to overestimate, right? So around 1.5 or 2 years ago, like I wrote a mechanism that allows us to look at some weight before a transaction and after a transaction and calculate how much was actually consumed. And in the meantime, like we worked on making this more and more accurate, because in the beginning, this mechanism had some problems. And there are still some small open issues, which fellowship member Michael is currently working on from my team. Like he's working on fixing this. But this is kind of complicated, and the scenario where we can overshoot are very like niche, and the amount should be small. So it's kind of reasonable to enable it now on Kusama. Yeah, so like a PR for that is open, and I expect that it can be merged soon. Yeah. What else do we have? I think it's noteworthy that an external contributor has provided the first version of a node. Like there is a solo chain locally running which has nomd. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but it's like a separate storage trie format which uses a binary trie and has a more efficient access pattern. Like someone from external team is working on this, and Michael and I from SDK Node are helping and giving guidance. Yeah, and Basti too. Yeah, what else is there? I think that's mostly it. I also spent some time on Basti block reviews and a very long outstanding pull request of mine, which should finally allow us to onboard ZombieNet tests at Genesis. This has been a long-standing pain point for all developers on Polkadot SDK. Whenever you develop like some ZombieNet test, you always need to wait until the relay chain has passed one full session. This can be quite annoying if you want to have a quick turnaround time. Yeah, I had this fix coming for quite some time, but it breaks a ton of tests. So I've been working on and off on this for weeks to finally get it over the finish line, but which I hope is happening soon. Yeah, I think that's it.
So this is when you run do I understand like you fork off the ZombieNet from the current relay chain, and then you want to do stuff, but you need to inject the different genesis?
No, this is not about forking a relay chain. This is about like the tests, for example, that we have on CI on the Polkadot repo. And I don't know if we have any in the runtimes repo, but anyway, like these ZombieNet tests, when you start them, they will wait for the first session to pass. And this is because the relay chain runtime only onboards these chains after the initial session. And this just wastes 1 minute. So you basically need to wait for 10 relay chain blocks.
I see.
And in the future, we can just directly do it, which will save a ton of CI time and also some developer sanity.
Okay. All right. Pretty cool. Good. Quite some different things. Got promoted to rank 3. Very good. Does anyone have a question for Sebastian? Lara is writing, Snowbridge uses this for end-to-end tests. Will be great if it's faster. Also, we still wait for Ethereum. Well, and I also saw some people nodding when you mentioned this thing. So I think there's a few people here in the room that appreciate that work. Good. All right, then let's move on. And I'm gonna move on because Sebastian just got promoted to rank 3. We're going to continue with rank 2 with the guy that is soon to be rank 3, which is David. Rank 2 in a fellowship with a salary of $1,666.
Hey everyone.
Hey, David.
Hi. Yeah. So my contributions to the ecosystem at the moment are a bit less tangible stuff, at least for the Polkadot ecosystem as it stands now. As most of the effort is about improving Gem conformance with respect to the other teams' implementations. So besides working on our company Gem implementation, as some of you may already know, at least the ones that are following the evolution of the Gem protocol, I'm trying to push forward the interoperability between the Gem implementations of the other teams. That, in the gray paper website are more than 40. The ones that are more active today are around 20. Means that around 20 teams are actively fuzzed by us and are doing, quite well with respect to the 2 months ago when we started. When we started fuzzing more intensively, their implementations were quite weak. But today there are some of them that are doing good, but not enough for production yet. So the fuzzing campaign for protocol 0.7.0 is let's say over, and we started with 0.7.1 very soon, and as today most of the work with respect to testing this implementation has been done informally by me and another guy in our team. But fresh news is that all this work is quite unofficial with respect to the milestone 1 prize for the teams, but the Web3 Foundation will soon take care of the operational side of fuzzing. So which, as far as I understood, means running our fuzzer tool on their side. And this will leave us the time to thinking about the design of the fuzzer tool for milestone 2. And so they will take off the operational side. We will eventually triage any dispute with respect to the results of our fuzzer when some diffs are spotted with respect to our engine and the target. But yeah, we need to start thinking about designing a tool to test milestone 2 that is a bit more ambiguous, as milestone 1 is purely on-chain logic that is very clear, unambiguous, and defined by the gray paper. And instead, the milestone 2 concentrates on off-chain strategy, so block production, how and when producing blocks, networking behavior, and stuff like that. So it will be a bit more rough to design a good fuzzer, and it's about strategy. So we need to evaluate if the strategy that is implemented by the teams are good or not. So we will have to define the criteria mostly, and yeah, this will take I guess more time. But yeah, I guess that's mostly it from my side so far.
I'm not sure if I tried that joke already, but I guess people get scared when you start your fuzzer, like the other teams.
Yeah, sure.
Good. Does anyone have a question for David? Bribe him to like skip your jam implementation. Oh, okay.
Yeah, one question. Are we like currently fuzzing 071 or is it still 070?
So we, I'm still maintaining a branch with the fuzzer that targets 070, mostly because some of the teams are still providing a target for 070, but I want to start as soon as possible fuzzing 071. Since I mean some of the teams are already providing a target for that, but yeah, I still able to fuzz 070 implementations. I'm not sure if I will provide a ton of new test vectors for 070. So most of the vectors probably will be the ones that are already there.
Yeah, I was asking because I assume 071 will be like the test vectors for that will be a superset of 070. So if we have a bug in 070 now and we say, okay, we just wait for 071, then we would also catch the bug there again, right?
Yeah, I try to port the vectors of 070 to 071.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
Plus something else, yes.
All right. Thank you, David. Okay. Moving on to someone who just got into rank 2. Coming up, Clara, rank 2 in the fellowship with a salary of $1,666.
Thank you very much for the promotion. I hope that I will do a good job. I want to start off by telling the fellowship of the first real Snowbridge issue that we had about 3 weeks ago. So we went live, I think it was in June 2024, and the bridge has been running smoothly ever since. And then 3 weeks ago, with the Asset Hub and Bridge Hub runtime upgrade of 1.7, we saw that transactions were failing in the Polkadot Ethereum direction. And what caused that was in our upgrade, we relied on both Asset Hub and Bridge Hub being upgraded. But the problem is these upgrades are permissionless. So once the upgrade has been voted on-chain, then anyone can go and upload the WASM, which then upgrades the runtime after an hour. And we did not think that this would be a problem because we assumed that both would be uploaded at the same time, which in hindsight was a faulty assumption. But luckily our team saw fairly early on what was the problem, and we went and uploaded the Bridge Hub runtime. And in that time, we let our partners know. And the parachains that use Snowbridge the most at the moment is Hydration. And we also let Velocity know. And they immediately paused the integration to Snowbridge. We did the same. 6 transactions failed, which we were quite relieved it wasn't more. But when we looked at the value of these transactions, it was about $100,000. And after we uploaded the WASM, service resumed and everything went on smoothly. We created a rave to replay those transactions, which the community has voted on, and the fellowship agreed to whitelist it. So we just want to say thank you for the community for supporting and getting these transactions executed as they should have been. I think we've learned that we need to be mindful of these integrations between Asset Hub and Bridge Hub. I think it was a really good exercise for us. Yeah, I just wanted to explain that to the fellowship. Was a good learning opportunity. Then otherwise, the XMV5 upgrade that I helped out with on Bridge Hub and Asset Hub on Kusama and Polkadot went live about 3 weeks ago at the same upgrade. We're very excited for XCMP5 since it unlocks a lot of new use cases for Snowbridge. And Snowbridge V2 was upgraded last week. So the Polkadot upgrade executed with the previous runtimes upgrade, and then we upgraded the execution contracts last week through a proposal. And we tested transactions in both directions using V2, I think yesterday and today, and everything looks fine. So we're very excited to release that to the community. I'm working on some documentation. We'll be working on integrations with partners to allow them to use Snowbridge V2. I'm presenting some capabilities for the Polkadot Builder Party on Monday. Anyone wants to join and see that. And then I am looking maybe to help out with any Polkadot related work outside of Snowbridge. At the moment, I'm trying to see if we can't help the Polkadot ambassadors to get on chain. It's a work that's been completed long ago. And I think there's just a few like small technical hurdles, not even technical, more like administrative hurdles to get it done. And Dom also kindly offered his services to work on it. So we're going to try and see if we can get it over the line. That's it.
Thank you, Clara. Does anyone have a question?
Yeah. So, I mean, I wasn't aware that there's like dependency between the Asset Hub and Bridge Hub runtime, I think you said. Or...
So there isn't, but what happened was the change that we introduced on Snowbridge is there used to be a requirement of paid transactions for Snowbridge between Asset Hub and Bridge Hub. Then we changed it to allow unpaid execution between Asset Hub and Bridge Hub for Snowbridge messages. And then Asset Hub was upgraded to send unpaid messages, but Bridge Hub still expected paid messages. So then the messages failed. So there isn't really a hard dependency. It was just some functionality on the XCM level that we changed that caused that to fail. And something that we didn't do is we didn't dry run transactions on Bridge Hub. We only dry run transactions on Asset Hub because Bridge Hub is very straightforward. If it passes on Asset Hub, it's likely to be fine on Bridge Hub. So we've introduced that now because that would have caught the error before users even submitted their messages.
Yeah. Yeah, so you probably have to test it in all 3 constellations or 4, I guess, like both non-upgraded, then one of them upgraded, or just the other upgraded, or both upgraded.
Yes.
Yeah. Otherwise, I mean, I don't know how you would fix this. I guess you just have to make sure it's backwards compatible because you cannot guarantee that they will both enact at the same time.
Yes. What we also realized was we should have made the change on one parachain, like do the change, then release it, and then make a change on the other parachain, and then release it in a separate upgrade. Because you can send a paid transaction if the other chain expects an unpaid one, but not the other way around.
I have a question on the ambassador work you mentioned. I saw there was some conversation between Basti and maybe Dom, or I don't know, someone else, pushing for the decision on the OpenGov token holders on what is the plan for these ambassadors. Because it's not clear, at least for me, I heard all sorts of mixed messages. So it's not clear why we're doing this work.
So I think this is a very loaded topic. I think it has a long history. I haven't personally gone through everything because there is a lot. But what I did understand was there were several referendums that the community said they wanted them on chain. The technical work has been done. I understand they have some go ahead for treasury funds that's been allocated. And all that's left is to
Is there
get the
any funds allocated? I haven't seen any. Yeah, exactly. Tommy is nodding. No.
I just wanted to catch up. So there was one time the original ambassador program, or let's say the version 2 or version 3 of the ambassador program, there was a palette issued. And then I think there was a request to revoke it. And I think my latest status is that then there was a final approval for a new one. And so I think there was a wish for change that approved the new social contract. And I think it's just not yet executed on chain, which means instituting the palette.
Yes, but I think that's kind of a old initiative. And with all the changes in Polkadot, I'm seeing a lot of changes in OpenDev and all the funding and all the stuff. And I'm really worried that we do all of this work and then this will never get funded and the thing will just never work or like be useful in any way. Right? I mean, I would try to do some sort of sanity checks, see if there is an actual ambassador program, right, being funded by the treasury and that the community wants to do that. Seeing how the ambassador program went through so many changes, so much noise around it, like drama and stuff. I know we're just supposed to do the technical side, but I don't want to do technical stuff for nothing. Just because 2 years ago wish for change passed. I want to make sure that wish for change is still like in effect today. That's my recommendation.
Yeah. I mean, I was reviewing this recent merge request about adding the palettes to collectives, and I mean, yeah, it's technically fine. It's just like this recent change in OpenGov about like more conservative spending could result in this like not receiving any significant funding, and yeah, that's probably similar to what Adrian said. Yeah, otherwise, I mean, it's also like questionable to like the general direction. Like it would be much easier if this was done as a contract, like they kept telling them for months that, yeah, it will be delayed because we are like the bottleneck, the fellowship is the bottleneck, they have to approve it, they have to audit it, whatever. If they make it as a contract, then, you can do whatever you want. You can make it as a Kusama contract, you can use the bridge or whatever to send stuff to Polkadot. I don't know. But yeah, it would just unblock them if they start to work on this in a contract, like develop it on Kusama, get a bit of funding there or something. Like currently, it seems to be like as stuck as it is since 3 years. Like it's, and I'm currently trying to not be much involved into this project because I think it's yeah, it's like a bit difficult.
I hear what you're saying. I think what's probably frustrating them is a lot of technical people have been working on it since the beginning of the year, and they've heard that they can go on chain and get a treasury and work autonomously with the bucket that they have, but that's not happening. So
sorry, it has already happened. Like the pallets are already deployed. They're deployed since 1.5 years, and they're like people in the pallets, and they like, you remember this whole Giotto story where they were voted the 21 initial one people in, like the pallets is there, like the structures are there, they can use it, but they're unhappy with these pallets now because it doesn't conform to some new manifesto, and now we have to like change all these conflicts. Like yeah.
So the pellets were never pulled. The pellets from the existing ambassador program were never pulled.
I mean, if you go to collective chain, there is ambassador core, ambassador fellowship, ambassador, I think, referenda. Like they can do stuff, but either they don't know or it doesn't conform to what they wanted. So it's like a disconnect, like if you always have to pass the information between two teams, like then it's difficult. If they would hire their own developer, they could much easier tell them what to do. But
yeah.
So the open runtimes PR isn't that required for them to do what they want to do? Like, I understand someone opened Runtime's PR with a bunch of changes, and that's been open like for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I approved it. I think this is like best effort. It's like not exactly in line with this latest ambassador manifesto, but it's pretty close. I mean, I don't have an issue with deploying this or anything. If it doesn't get funding, then okay, we can just merge it. Like,
maybe. I think I'm a complete bystander in this thing, trying to maybe help where I can. But it seems like the ambassadors see the technical work as a blocker at the moment, which maybe it isn't. But I think they're feeling they're not getting that support from the technical side. That's what I'm understanding. And I know there's been a lot of work done on it, but I think they want that like final changes committed and on chain so they can continue. If that makes sense. That's what I'm trying to help with, because I understand it's been abandoned. I don't think that Runtime's PR is being worked on. I think there's merge conflicts. There's a loss migration CI that should be fixed. Sorry, it's very controversial, but I thought I'd bring it up while everyone is here.
I mean, I'm not opposed to this. If you want to do it, fine. Yeah. I think we can publish it in the Runtime's release. Yeah.
I would suggest we try to depoliticize it as much as possible, because maybe the actual suggested changes are minimal. It seems to me like that, and then maybe it's a one PR that can make a good impact for some people, or we figure out it's just maybe drop it and do smart contracts. But personally, I appreciate the investigation a lot, Clara. So let's see. And if you want, we can also we're also already in comps. So, all right. Does anyone have a question for Clara? Good. I appreciate that you, Clara, and Dom, like there is this gang, and Kian, there's this gang of OpenDev connoisseurs forming. Good. Then we are moving on to, next up is Cisco, rank 2 in the fellowship with a salary of 1,666.
Hello, everyone.
Hey.
So this last month, I've been working on basically AHM support. So whatever AHM the migration needed on the XEM side. I have been writing a couple of forum posts about issues that we found, basically on the topic of the migration happening and everything going well on system parachains, but then other parachains not upgrading, not changing their reserve for DOT, and then apps not being able to identify like which is the correct reserve for DOT, even though we're changing it from the relay to the asset hub. So there was a lot of work there in coordination with Paraspell, for example, which is a really nice SDK. That if people adopt already has all these fixes in, so that cross-chain transfers are not broken during the period before the migration, like during the migration, so that we don't dot cross-chain transfers. So all the rest should work fine. So lots of troubleshooting, lots of testing. And then on the side of XEM and smart contracts, we are waiting for Paseo Asset Hub to have contracts to start testing, to start running a little test contract to have doing cross-chain transfers, seeing if we can have an easy interface for everyone to just send DOT and USDT and every asset register on Asset Hub anywhere they want. Right now, Asset Hub is pretty much disconnected from everything else. So in terms of XEM, it's not that useful. And actual Paseo Asset Hub would be useful for us to have similar connections to chains like test hydration and all of those. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right, thank you, Cisco. I think this is very important important work, because these are the things that are often overlooked, and then in the end, it's the things that the end users experience in a very bad way. Good. I don't see questions. Then we are moving on, and we are staying at rank 2. Next up is Pablo, rank 2 in the fellowship with a salary of $1,606. Hey, Pablo.
Hey everyone. Well, I've been mainly involved in the project of making sure we can migrate all the pallets that are still using the currency trade to the newer fungible trade. Last month I worked on migrating the identity palette. It's now under review. And the next step for me after I finish those changes in the review this week is start migrating the treasury palette. A bit ambitious, but anyway, that's what we need to do. Keep migrating the palettes over the course of these months. And after that, I'm still working on the write-up for a new RFC that will be released on late December to propose having multi-currency deposit management using consideration. It's pretty much it. I started working on the migration to 2509, but I'm aware that we need to have the migration of the Polkadot Asset Hub ready before getting full focus on that migration of the Polkadot SDK to a newest version.
Good grind. I love it. Does anyone have a question for Pablo? All right. That is not the case. Then we're moving on to rank 1. And next up is rank 1 in the fellowship, Daniel, with a salary of $833. Hey, Daniel.
Yeah, hi there. So I had this big PR with the XM NFT set up for West End Asset Hub, but it was big, and I got distracted with my tasks and unique network parachain. So I believe it's not a good time to review this PR because the potential reviewers are busy with the asset hub migration. So I don't think it's a good time. So I switched to the issue of refactoring the XCM code to prepare it to implement XCM version 6. Well, actually, my main goal is to implement my RFC XCM asset metadata, but it depends on XCM version 6. So it will be my second attempt to tackle this issue. First time I tried to continue Brian's work, but now I think it would be easier to just make a completely new PR. I will retain the general idea of Brian's PR that we should have separate implementations for each XCM instruction, not this big match statement in the XCM executor. But I think I will approach this differently. Well, my main objective will be to make as few changes as possible because, the current PR, well, there's a lot of work like outside of the main thing, and I hope to avoid this. Maybe I will introduce some prots macro. I'm thinking about that. We'll see. So I'm working on it. So yeah, that's the thing. But it will be two separate PRs. The first one will be the refactor PR. The second one will be XCM version 6. So I won't merge it into one big thing. I will try to keep it small.
All right. Thank you, Daniel. Does anyone have a question for Daniel? I don't see hands. Okay, then we're moving on. And next up is Ludovic. No. Yeah, next up is Ludovic, rank 1 in the fellowship with a salary of $833.
Hi everyone. On my end, I'm working on the same thing as Pablo. So working on the migrations from the currency trades to the new fungible ones for various palettes. I've been mainly working since last month on the indices palette, and now I'm also working on the how is it called, the lottery palette. So yeah, it's still like a work in progress on that end, and once those are done, I'll switch to like the next ones. That's pretty much it.
Short and sweet. Does anyone have a question for Ludovic? Nope, that is not the case. All right, then let's move on. Next up is Don, rank 1 in the fellowship, not pulling a salary, if I'm informed correctly.
No, I'm definitely pulling the salary. Let's see. So yes, a few things. I would say the biggest thing that I'm working on currently is I think it was RFC 150 for voting simultaneously while you're delegating. Basically allowing you to delegate, and then if you disapprove of the vote, you don't have to undelegate and deal with all that. You can just vote, and it'll claw back from them. This RFC was under review. It got one approval. I was maybe waiting on Basti. I did the changes he requested. So hopefully he and anyone else who's interested in it can take a look and see what they think. And then the code side for that is pretty much all but complete as well. I just finished up changing the benchmarking, and all that's left is the writing the migration. So all that is going fairly swimmingly, and haven't seen any issues through the development of it. So if that bolsters the RFC at all. So in addition to that, like Clara was saying, I'm going to try to help out with this ambassador stuff. I understand the qualms that everybody's having over it. It seems that it was just sort of an unfortunate timing issue, and now there's some frustrations, but it's unclear what the best path forward is in the face of contracts coming online. So maybe there's something there, but in general, I think they're just trying to get the credibility that comes with running at the federal level, the sort of runtime level that you get for doing so. Basically, I think is why they're doing it this way. I don't know. I don't have anything to say about that. And then, so there are 2 backports for this that are currently have been reviewed. They got the 2 reviews necessary. And I don't know if there's an auto merge or what the deal is with that, if someone just needs to merge it, but looks like those are good to go. So that's good. And then we can take those backports and, assuming we're looking to move forward with this, add them to the PR that is in the runtimes and get that merged. I think that was the last issue. So there's something there. And then following from that, I have also been working on the hard pressure cap supply, which Keon brought up and Oliver spoke about as well. That seems to all be going fairly well. And it looks like the discussion will pick up again around that, such that we can get whatever changes necessary and maybe get that in. So that's all looking good as well. And then one last thing that's not crazy important, but could be good for reasons I'll mention in a second here. But a while back, maybe like a year and a half ago or so, there was an issue to add a new macro that basically gets rid of all the derive boilerplate for anything that you're storing in runtime storage. I think since then, maybe there has been some effort to remove macros. So I don't know where we landed on this, but the code is up for that. That's not so important in the face of all the stuff we're doing. But the only reason I mention it is if you are annoyed by that boilerplate and want to take a look at the PR, feel free to do so. Or if I just think it could be a very good umbrella issue for incoming contributors who are looking I know when I was joining the fellowship, it was very helpful to have something like I think it was like switching block number provider over for all the pallets, and it's something simple, but it just gets you like inundated with all the ins and outs of opening up a PR and all that stuff. So that could be a good umbrella crate one, if we're still interested in it.
Very
So that is everything for me.
So you picking up a PR to like improve macros makes me think that your apartment is fairly cleaned up. Like you're the guy that likes to have a cleaned up apartment.
Yeah. Well, I don't like a lot of clutter. Let's say that.
Yeah.
That's a good assessment.
We should maybe one day, Jay, maybe we should one day make a tour where we look at the code of people and then we look at their apartment.
Yeah, do apartment tours. Oh, God.
All right. Okay, Dom, we have a question for you. When do you think the hard cap is gonna land on chain?
Oh, I really would not be the best person to ask for that, I think, because I don't control like runtimes or runtime releases or anything like that. But it looks like there's not really a lot of issues that reviewers are finding with the code. And then, as Oliver and Keon said, they're probably going to get to this before November 4th or maybe. So let's say like on average, November 4th is maybe when that PR would go in, and then hopefully in the next runtime release after that would be my assumption, but I don't know again.
All right, got it. Thank you, Dom.
We plan to do the like Polkadot 2.0 thing, and maybe then afterwards, yeah. But it has pretty high priority, so we will definitely do it soon. But I think it's like the deadline is like March, right? Like next year when there's actually a change. So
yes,
it's better if we do it much earlier, but yeah, we still can.
Got it. All right, thank you. Good. Then thank you, Dom.
Yes.
And we are moving on. Next up is Seth, rank 1 in the fellowship, with a supposed salary of either $0 or $833.
Yeah, I'll try. I'll defend my retention, and then I deserve it. What happened? Yeah, so Bastille rebased his PR after. Yeah, I asked him every time, so but it doesn't compile. So I'm mostly working on fixing that, because there's like 1,000 test runtimes in Polkadot now, and 2 years ago there was like much less. So each of them need to be changed, and I'm changing them and pushing. But this one should finish soon, and if it gets merged, then we could have probably BLS on West End, and then people want to try a bridge using BLS. They should be about to do that while we are auditing the encryption code, the crypto code, and stuff like that. So it can go to Kusama and Polkadot, but at least they can test the bridge. So mostly focused on that. What else? I reviewed and then worked with some people to do grant related to ZK, or so that I think there was a grant went through for ZK verifier, so a parachain that submits ZK proof instead of normal proof that you're submitting now. So that's one, and I'm working with another grant that they want to make a test bridge using BLS and APK proof to make like a test bridge between Polkadot and Kusama, so other people will see how does it work. Yeah, there's this new host function RFC that I'm not contributing to, mostly because yeah. So even though that the host function are there right now working, but I don't want them to go through. But still, I want them to go through for West End so people can test. But I think for Polkadot, they're a bit specific to stay there. Like if ECDSA goes away, then this function become useless, and for no reason the host function. So I'll work on that to have a better thing. these are mostly, I think, stuff that's related here. I have a question from Clara. I don't know if she's still on.
I am.
Oh yeah, so the glitch happened for the bridge between Polkadot to Ethereum, right?
Yes, but on the Polkadot side.
Yeah. So basically, the relay didn't transmit the transaction.
No, transactions were submitted. For transactions from Polkadot to Ethereum, transactions start at Asset Hub. And the Asset Hub execution passed, but when the XCM message was sent to Bridge Hub, the Bridge Hub execution message failed. And so the message didn't get to Ethereum.
Yeah, so I see. So the payment went through in Polkadot, like the transaction worked on Polkadot, but then the relay
on
didn't
Asset
relay.
Hub. So
Yeah.
on Asset Hub, but not on Bridge Hub. So not completely on Polkadot.
Yeah. So Ethereum didn't see. I'm just confused why there was needed for a referendum to replay while anybody could have replayed it on Ethereum, right? Because
So the because the funds are already because the funds were already burnt on Asset Hub, you can't submit the same transaction again. If the Asset Hub transaction rolled back, you could replay them, but it was an inconsistent state where Asset Hub already sees the funds as burnt, but the message didn't completely through Asset Hub and get in queue to Ethereum.
in theory, somebody could write a custom relay and say, look, the bond to the Ethereum says to the wallet on Ethereum says, look, this fund has been burned. Can you do the transfer? And they could.
The problem is because we submit the messages in Bridge Hub digests, it was never submitted in the digest. So the relayer couldn't look at Bridge Hub, see that the transaction occurred, and then submit it with confidence to Ethereum. So that was the problem. If it was successfully committed to the digest, then someone could just relay it as normal. But because it was,
digest.
yeah, that's a good question though.
And it's too late to submit it in another digest. Like.
So not just anyone can submit transactions to Bridge Hub. Asset Hub has certain privileges there, so the transaction had to come from Asset Hub. And because the funds
you have the privilege to do it yourself, right? Like
we don't. We had to open a referendum to execute that from the relay chain. So the bridge is completely permissionless. Our team can't burn funds or mint funds or send messages from Asset Hub.
It's just adding stuff to the digest, right? And
yes,
then the other side of the bridge will decide if this is true or not, right?
But adding something to the digest is also privileged. We can't do that. We don't have special permissions on Asset Hub and Bridge Hub.
Okay.
And that's a security thing. So our team can't become like very rich and just mint funds on Bridge Hub and Asset Hub.
Too bad.
Too bad. That's a good question though. It's quite a complicated technical thing, but I think we've learned from it. We need to be careful with these dependencies between Asset Hub and Bridge Hub.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any more questions for Sayed? Nope. Good. Then we move on. Next up is Nikos. I believe rank 0 in the fellowship. Nikos?
Hey, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, wasn't able to find the unmute button on my computer.
Story of my life.
Yeah.
Nikos, you're here to talk today?
I was not expecting that, but if you want me to, why not?
Sure.
I mean, I start looking again on the. I've left behind a long time ago some migration for frame move pallets to the fungible trades, and I'm trying to reinitiate that. So hopefully that will bring me back to rank 1, or maybe some extra work. I don't know.
Sounds good. So, Nikos, what brings you back? Like, I think we haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, we were over occupied with PBA Bali. Cisco knows very well, and some more people as well. So yeah, there were things needed to be done, like a lot of stuff needed to change. So it took most of my day. Ludo knows as well, of course, he's part of the team. Yeah, but now that we're back, then I think it's a good time to have a look back to the Polkadot SDK and work a little bit more. I've heard Kian saying that there are more people needed, so why not?
Very cool. Good to have you. Good to have you back. Good. Is there questions for Nikos? What he did at PBA in the last few months? No. Good. Then we are through our list, I believe. Let me do one more check. But this looks good. Good. So then we're coming to the end of our call. This was, I like the call a lot. I think we covered a lot of territory. It's like even hard for me to summarize it today. So I'm just going to close it down with one call to action, which is Sub-Zero is coming up in 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. And I think this one is going to be really insane. I think we will hear lots of great things. I think that I keep mentioning this on Twitter. I think for this Sub-Zero, if you have the opportunity to be there, you should make your way there, because I think this will be a very interesting, how do you say, a spark in the room. Like lots of interesting conversations are going to start there. So if there is an opportunity for you, do it. Don't put yourself in debt, but and like if you can afford it, if you can go there, you can convince your boss to send you there. So do it. I think it would be really good. It's 14th to 16th of November in Buenos Aires. I want to book my tickets. I just can't decide if I should stay longer for Dev Connect, but I think I'm going to be boring this time and just stay for Sub-Zero. I'm going to make my decision this week. And then book, and people keep telling me, book it, because rooms are running out. So let's see how that goes. All right. Okay. Conversation today. Lots to learn. This will be a very big protocol for me to write. Thank you everyone for coming today, sharing what you're doing. And yeah, I look forward to next month, and we have to check out if it works with the calendar with Sub-Zero. But yeah, it's every 3rd Tuesday of the month. So see you again next month, and goodbye. Bye, guys.
See you guys.